गई थी, उस हिसाब से हमने सारी चीजें की थी। एट वन फाइन मोमेंट पवार साहब उसमें से हट गए और फिर अजित पवार वॉज लेफ्ट विथ नो अल्टरनेटिव देन टू कम विथ मी, क्योंकि हम लोग तैयारी पूरी कर ली थी। वो तो एक्सपोज हो जाते, वो तो खत्म हो जाते। तो इसलिए अजित पवार ने और हमने शपथ ली और फिर कोर्ट में जो हुआ वो भी आप लोगों ने देखा। लेकिन उस समय सरकार बनाने का जो प्रयास हमने किया था उसकी शुरुआत पवार साहब से बातचीत करके ही हुई थी।
एनएसजी का प्रोफेशन होता कैसे, पहले ये तो बताइए।
It's all physical. They have 26 obstacles, and first 13 obstacles they are of hands. पूरे हाथ का होता है. And 13th obstacle was the vertical rope on a just plain wall. You have to just climb. और तब तक 12 obstacle किए होते हैं ना, हाथ फूक गए होते, फूल गए होते हैं. ऐसे करते करते there were 26 obstacles. And वहाँ से आने के बाद फिर fire. इमीडिएटली वहां से वेपन्स रखे होते हैं। हाँ, अगरबत्ती होती है, अगरबत्ती होती है। यू आर जस्ट आउटस्टैंडिंग बट किया, एंड आई डिड बेस्ट। आई वाज केम आउट विद फ्लाइंग कलर्स विद एनर्जी।
You are a political strategist. You
Kuch Bihar. That's Bhaskar, our reporter, live. The ballot boxes are being brought out of the polling stations. These are the visuals from Murshidabad. One hand where they are trying to destroy a ballot box. We can see live visuals of ballot papers being burnt.
शरद पवार डबल गेम खेलते हैं।
खेला है, पवार साहब हमारे साथ थोड़ी चुनकर आए थे। उन्होंने हमारा उपयोग किया, स्ट्रेटेजी की, और एक प्रकार से हम लोगों को मिसलीड करके वो निकल गए। डबल प्लेइंग जिसको कह सकते हैं।
ही गोष्ट खरी आहे, त्याच्यात त्यांनी अनेक गोष्टीची चर्चा केली। ही गोष्ट खरी आहे, पण त्यांनी स्वतःच सांगितलंय का की या संबंधीचं धोरण मी बदललं 2 दिवसांचे 2 दिवसांनी मी धोरण बदललं।
2019 सालं मी देवेंद्र फडणवीस सगळी चर्चा झाली, 5 बैठका झाल्या आणि मला देवेंद्रला सांगितलं कुठं बोलायचं नाही। आता मला सांगा, नेत्यांनी सांगितल्यावर मी कसा कुठं बोलेन?
Hello and welcome. You're watching The Wicket Debate with me, Shavan Sen. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, many would hang their head in shame. Tonight, questions should be raised. Those Harvard returned politicians who were basically speaking about democracy. They say that democracy has died in this country. But what has happened in the last 24 to 48 hours in the state of West Bengal is a classic example of nothing less than death of democracy. And if you're wondering why exactly am I asking that question, is that if 30 lives have been lost, then yes, political parties ought to be accountable. And why were lives were actually lost? Only because there was a fight for supremacy on the Panchayat polls in the state of West Bengal. And mind you, this is not the first time that such scenes were seen from the state of West Bengal, be it in 2018 but even this year. But this year, many would say that it has perhaps crossed the Lakshman Rekha. 30 lives were lost not only from one political party, but from across all political parties. But even children were not spared, ladies and gentlemen, and that's why on the weekend debate today, we are asking this question: who exactly is standing with the people of Bengal? That's our debate as the Bengal governor, who's en route to the national capital, would be meeting the Union Home Minister in a short while from now. 21 dead, violence continues, but the lobby still is silent. These are the headlines we're tracking this Sunday night. Bengal governor en route to the national capital, all set to meet Union Home Minister Amit Shah. A day after widespread violence, repolling ordered in over 600 polling booths. "21 people dead. Elections are over, but violence continues across Bengal."
তো দরকার ছিল, কোথায় প্রোটেকশনটা পেলাম আমরা? আপনারা বলেন কোথায় প্রোটেকশন পেলাম?
People of Bengal say there is no one to help them. Helpless victims plead for justice and aid. Roads washed away, rivers breaching banks, flood fury across North India. Why exactly is there a system of Panchayat Samiti? That is only because you want to strengthen that system in order to deliver services to the people right at the lowest rung. In order to do so, when there are elections around the corner, you see political parties jostling for some space. But in doing so, what has happened is that they have resorted to things which amount to completely being unspeakable. Over the last 24 to 48 hours, what we have essentially seen is that large-scale violence has taken place in the state of West Bengal. But the Lutyens media has decided to brush it under the carpet. And that very lobby, who always at the drop of the hat would basically say that democracy has seen a silent death in this country, today feel that it is not required to even raise those basic questions. Some say that there is a conspiracy that is being hatched by the centre by, say, sending a governor which the Trinamool Congress has now accused of campaigning for the Bharatiya Janata Party. Can the Bharatiya Janata Party also absolve themselves from this entire massacre that we are seeing in the state of West Bengal? But the bigger question should be asked to the Chief Minister of West Bengal, Mamata Banerjee, who was also campaigning for this entire polls. And Abhishek Banerjee now says that, look here, we were only talking about peaceful elections. But it is the opposition who is exactly trying to corner the Trinamool Congress. And in doing so, they're doing it by violent means. The Bengal governor then made a very crucial point, which perhaps many should have taken it as an advice. This is a fight between bullet versus ballot, and that wise choice was supposed to be made. But this very statement of the Bengal governor was largely seen by the Trinamool Congress as a statement of campaigning for the Bharatiya Janata Party. In fact, as we speak, the Bengal governor should be landing in the national capital in a short while from now, and he would be meeting Union Home Minister Amit Shah, where he submits a report. As we understand, after he visited violence-hit areas, this report is likely to be scathing, to say the least. And for all those who are saying that, look here, the Bengal governor appears to be partisan, let's not forget that it is the same very governor who's actually visited the residences of Trinamool Congress workers. Tonight we are raising this question: who exactly is standing for the people of Bengal? And for how long will this really continue? It all started back in the 60s when the Congress was in power, and to challenge them, the CPM had resorted to the same means. That vicious cycle, ladies and gentlemen, still continues in 2023. Take a look at this report. In fact, our reporters have been on the ground risking their life to get you this report.
A day after 21 people were killed in poll violence,
আক্রমণ না করে নিজেদের আত্মরক্ষা প্রোটেকশনের তো দরকার ছিল। কোথায় প্রোটেকশনটা পেলাম আমরা? আপনারা বলেন কোথায় প্রোটেকশন পেলাম?
the bloodshed in Bengal continued. In parts of Murshidabad, bombs were hurled.
In some places where the miscreants, goons are being outnumbered by police, they are running away. In some places where the police are being outnumbered by these goons, the police had to use their guns and they had to, we can see live visuals of Raninagor where the police is trying to point their guns at the miscreants. We can see them running away.
The cops that went slow yesterday were quick to crack down on protests today. Ballot boxes full of ballot papers have been dumped in drains. The BJP is demanding repolling.
यहाँ का जो पंचायत चुनाव है, त्रिस्तरीय पंचायत चुनाव, इसमें जो वोट लूटा गया था, करीब 10 से 12 हज़ार जो बूथ्स हैं वो बूथ कैप्चर किया गया था। आज हम लोग पूरा एक जिला से वो तालिका जो है, जो लिस्ट है, उसको लाके हम राजीव सिन्हा को देके ये 10-12 हज़ार बूथ पे रीपोल जो है वो हम मांगे हैं।
The Congress is saying it will move court.
বাংলার তৃণমূল সরকার কোন মহান কাজ করলেন, আপনাকে আগামী দিনে মানুষকে তার জবাব দিতে হবে। কংগ্রেস বসে থাকবে না। এই হত্যার প্রতিবাদে বিরোধী দল হিসাবে আমাদের যা যা করণীয়, রাস্তায় আন্দোলন, কোর্টে আন্দোলন, সব আমরা করব।
And the BSF is setting the record straight on how violence was halted wherever it was deployed.
कल बीएसएफ और सेंट्रल आर्म्ड पुलिस फोर्सेस और स्टेट आर्म्ड फोर्सेस के जो ट्रुप्स आए थे उनका डिप्लॉयमेंट पंचायत इलेक्शंस में किया गया था और जहाँ जहाँ पे ये ट्रुप्स डिप्लॉयड हुए थे वहाँ पे कोई कैजुअलिटी नहीं हुई है।
But to the TMC, the violence is minuscule.
মেজর ইনসিডেন্ট যদি আমরা 8-9টা বুথ বলি, তার সঙ্গে আরও কয়েকটা যেখানে ছোটোখাটো থেকে আরেকটু মাঝারি ঝামেলা, এসবটা মিলিয়ে যদি 60টা বুথ, 60 যদি বুথ বলি, বুথের সংখ্যা 61,539। তাহলে পয়েন্ট আপনি পার্সেন্টেজ ক্যালকুলেট করতে পারেন, তার মধ্যে যদি 60টা বুথ বলি তাহলে কতটা পার্সেন্টেজ? অত্যন্ত কম পার্সেন্টেজ। আর এটা হওয়া উচিত নয়। আমরা আবেদন এবং সকল বিরোধী দলও যারা নেতৃত্ব রয়েছেন প্রত্যেকেই সেন্ট্রাল ফোর্সের উপস্থিতি খুব চেয়েছিলেন। সেন্ট্রাল ফোর্সও এলো, কিন্তু সেন্ট্রাল ফোর্সের ভূমিকা কি ছিল?
Amidst unabated violence, the West Bengal governor has reached Delhi to submit a report. Democracy has been butchered in West Bengal.
पश्चिम बंगाल में पंचायत के चुनाव में जिस प्रकार से लोकतंत्र की हत्या होते लोग स्वयं देख पा रहे हैं, जहां लोकतांत्रिक अपने मूल्यों को, अधिकारों को जताने के लिए लोग मौत के घाट उतारे जा रहे हैं, उसी टीएमसी की पार्टी के साथ गांधी परिवार गठबंधन कर रहा है।
But the lobby that ordinarily claims democracy is in danger has its eyes wide shut. Let's debate.
Well, in fact, first let's begin with that breaking news now coming in. The first visit that is being made by the governor of West Bengal to the national capital, where he's all set to meet Amit Shah. This is the backdrop of the visit that he made to violence-hit areas of West Bengal. And not to forget that statement that was made by the Bengal governor, which certainly has enraged the Trinamool Congress. We'll perhaps play that out in a short while for our viewers to put this into perspective. But tracking the movement of the governor in the national capital are my colleagues Madhurima, who's joining us from outside Union Home Minister Amit Shah's residence, and from the airport is my colleague Harsha. A quick word from you, Harsha. First, what does the itinerary essentially look like of the governor, whom I'm being told is expected to land around 9:20 this evening?
Shivan, now we are getting to know that right now we are at airport only, and we are getting to know that the flight of Governor C.V. Ananda Bose has already landed, and he will be out anytime soon from this very airport, T3 International Airport, where I am standing. And from here the reports are also suggesting that he will likely go to the residence of HM Amit Shah, and he will be handing over the report of the violence hit area where Governor today himself visited North 24 Parganas district and also Murshidabad, Malda, Cooch Bihar, various districts where exactly the violence had happened, which has killed more than 24 people in West Bengal. And the entire report Governor will be submitting to HM Amit Shah, and the itinerary of Governor looks like that Governor will be in national capital for almost 2 days, and he will be meeting other leaders as well. But most important is the delegation of Bengal leaders, which is also going to meet HM Amit Shah tomorrow in national capital. But today, likely late night meeting of Governor of West Bengal and Amit Shah will happen. Back to you, Shava.
Well, Madhurima, as far as this visit is concerned, if I'm correct, this would be his first meeting with Union Home Minister Amit Shah after his visit to the violence-hit areas. It's expected that he would be submitting a report. Anything that you're picking up from the Home Minister's office?
Well, Shravan, when we talk about this entire matter, Amit Shah, the Union Home Minister, is he is monitoring every situation bit by bit very diligently, and it is upon the cognizance that has been taken by his office that the governor has also reached the national capital. And it's going to be a very crucial meeting because the governor is going to give a blow-by-blow evidence to the Union Home Minister, where he will be also telling what he really witnessed on ground, the kind of crimes that were committed all across the state of West Bengal, the way Havoc was wreaked, all that will be told to the Union Home Minister. What we are learning at the moment is that there is a demand of precedence rule in the state of West Bengal, looking at the multiple deaths. Over 10 deaths have been
Madhurima,
registered.
sorry to interrupt you. I'll just take a quick Madhurima, just sorry to interrupt you. Let me just take a quick check with Harsha. I'm told that the cavalcade is ready in a short while from now. Governor Ananda Bose is expected to move towards Union Home Minister Amit Shah's residence. What's really happening on the ground?
Shravan, right now Sarbananand Sonowal, he came out of the airport. We were trying to take a word from him on West Bengal violence, because before him Mallikarjun Kharge also landed here at Delhi International Airport, where he condemned the violence in West Bengal, and he has said that law and order should be maintained over there. But right now we are waiting for Governor C.V. Ananda Bose. Let me show you the visuals. And right now we are expecting him to be out of this airport. But Shravan, we have to wait for some more time. Back to you.
Well, in fact, we'll come back to you in a short while from now once the governor comes out of the airport, hoping we would be getting that first reaction from Governor Ananda Bose, who's did actually speak to the media before leaving from Kolkata. Let's start the weekend debate. The question that we are asking tonight, ladies and gentlemen, who exactly is standing with the people of West Bengal? And perhaps that is the legitimate question to ask on a day when over 30 lives have actually been lost from the time the polls were announced. Joining us on the weekend debate tonight, representing the Bharatiya Janata Party, is spokesperson Shehzad Poonawalla, Jaideep Mazumdar, Associate Editor of Swaraj. In a short while from now, we're expecting Professor Monojit Mondal to join us. Nilanjan Das, a political analyst leaning towards the Trinamool Congress. Nikhil Jain, advocate, is also joining us. Opening up the debate tonight is Nilanjan Das and Shehzad Poonawalla. Nilanjan, let me first ask you this question. Who exactly is really accountable for the death of over 30 people? Trinamool Congress says minuscule if you really compare, if you take the larger picture. Now, for a political party, perhaps it does not really matter. But what about the family members of those 30 people who have lost their lives, which also includes, mind you, workers of the Trinamool Congress?
Exactly, Sawan. Most of the people who are dead are from the Trinamool Congress party. And this, you have to understand, this is a pre-planned, orchestrated attack by the united opposition in Bengal. In Bengal, BJP, CPM, Congress, all are united. They are together with the ISF. So this is completely a failure of the central forces. The central forces were supposed to be deployed. The deployment was the duty of the BSF IG, who was the nodal officer.
Are you saying that Trinamool Congress has no are you saying that the Trinamool Congress has no responsibility?
Every political party.
And if that's the case, Nilanjan, what I'm going to do in a short while from now, perhaps what I will also do in a short while from now. Of course, I will ask that question of the Bharatiya Janata Party when I come to them. I'm asking you, since you lean towards the Trinamool Congress, you have your affinity towards that party. Perhaps this question should be asked to you as someone who comes from the state of West Bengal. In fact, for someone who's been there, studied there, I would say one should hang their head in shame where no one seems to be standing with the people of West Bengal. Because what is happening is the fight goes on between you and, as you say, your united opposition in the state of West Bengal. But are you really telling me that there is no role that the Trinamool Congress has to play when it comes to the crude bomb factories? Are you then telling me that you have no role to play when it comes to the provocative statements that have been made by your supreme leaders?
Provocative statements by our leaders? I can tell you a number of statements, like Shubhendu Adhikari asking his men to play the role of central forces. He is asking his people to throw away.
Nilanjan, don't worry. I will ask that question as far as Shubhendu Adhikari is concerned to Shehzad. No, you are not. Are you representing the Bharatiya Janata Party?
What has my leader said?
Are you representing them?
What has Mamta Banerjee said?
No, if you.
What has Mamta Banerjee said? What has Abhishek Banerjee is the person who said?
Nilanjan, what happens is that if you don't come prepared, this is what happens in a short while from now.
No, you are not prepared. You are not aware of the ground reality.
No,
you are not aware of the ground reality.
We have enough time, ample amount of time.
From TMC.
Listen, if you raise your voice, and there is no substance to it, it makes no sense. I'll tell you why it makes no sense.
No, because you are not ready to hear.
No one can make sense of what you are trying to say. Hold on, Nilanjan. What is there to be so aggressive? What is there to be
Because you have an agenda.
You are not the aggrieved party.
You have an agenda to project Bengal in a bad light.
Of course not. I don't have an agenda.
You do.
What are you accusing me of?
I'm telling you facts.
You are accusing me of asking a question? Yes, I have an agenda.
No,
and the agenda is to ask a question.
You have to listen.
1 minute, hold on.
No, you have to listen. You have to listen to my
do not
answer.
cross your brief.
64% of the people who are
1 minute, Nilanjan, you're talking to the same very journalist. 1 minute, hold on. 1 minute, Nilanjan. Listen, Nilanjan, you may be used to the namby-pamby anchors of the other networks, but I'm not. Let me just remind you, oh, hello. 1 minute. Please do remember this. You're talking to the same very journalist who was attacked by Trinamool Congress goons back in 2018 in your supreme leader's constituency. So dare you say that to me by saying that I have not opened my eyes and I have an agenda. My only single agenda is to ask a question, and I will continue asking it. If you don't have a heart pleading for those who have lost their lives, then I don't care. I am going to ask you that question. Go ahead. I will ask you that question.
You have an agenda.
Of course, what will you speak?
You have an agenda of the BJP.
What is the agenda?
You want to project Bengal in a bad
My agenda
light.
is to ask that question. I will ask. Don't worry, I'm also going to ask the same question to Shehzad when his turn comes. But why don't you answer one simple question? Who is Arabul Islam? Who is Arabul Islam? Is he a leader of the Trinamool Congress or the Bharatiya Janata Party? Because in the next 5 minutes, okay, hold on. If you're accusing me of an agenda in the next 5 minutes, what I'm going to do, hold on, enough. In the next 5 minutes, perhaps I'll give that time to our newsroom also. In the next 5 minutes, we're going to play out what your great leader, Arabul, had to say from Bhangor.
Please play out.
And once you hear that out, then tell me there's nothing provocative about it. Okay, I'll put that out. Don't worry. Let me take. You have the problem. Let me now take this question. Hold on. calm down and think about it. I'll give you enough time. Prepare yourself.
No, you think
Prepare
about
yourself.
your journalism.
Answer that. And listen,
you
there is
think
no
about
point.
what you are doing.
You know,
you think
no,
about
one
what
second.
you are
Do
doing.
not teach me.
You are
Do
doing
not
a
teach me
disservice.
journalism.
You have
I don't
brought
have to
in
take
two
lessons
BJP
from
people
you.
here.
No, what? Two BJP people? My invitation has gone to your Trinamool, your party also. Don't worry. They are free to come any time. In fact, if you have missed it out, on 8 o'clock, I've given enough time to read you that also. Shahzad, the question that I want to ask you is that, fair enough, you are the principal opposition party there. You want a space there. You want to create a space. You want to corner the Trinamool Congress. But the fact of the matter is this, point number one. When Shubhendu Adhikari makes a provocative statement, then nothing happens. You can corner the Trinamool Congress by saying that, look here, what kind of statements are they making? What are the statements that Shukanto Majumdar had to make? What are the comments that Shubhendu Adhikari had to say? One, they're provocative in nature.
Let me first of all use your platform to extend tributes and my respects to the 37 people and counting who have lost their lives. Trinamool Congress workers or BJP workers. Every life lost is a life too many and is a life too precious to lose. Secondly, let me tell you that we haven't seen these scenes since 1990. Shawan, I remember you must have been a younger reporter, as aggressive as you are even now. But in 1990s, we used to see such scenes in Bihar where booths were being captured so openly. It's not happened, and especially not in Rabindranath Tagore's Bengal. This is the land which was supposed to be of Ma Mati Manush. Now it's become of bomb, booth capturing and blast. But having said that, let me tell you 2 or 3 things. First of all, this is a state-sponsored and state-protected, state-patronized violence and an institutionalization of political violence. Let me tell you why. Since 2013, or in every election that Mamata Banerjee has come to pass since 2011, there has been political violence. I have some specific questions to ask. Forget about the statements. If there are any provocative statements, please take action. Who stopped you from taking action? But let me ask the specific questions, Shravan, and I would like to use your platform very respectfully to ask those questions. First of all, when 822 companies of CAPF, the Central Forces, landed in July 3rd, all of them were there, and the DIG was asking for the sensitive booths data and information. He was only given the number. Why wasn't he given the exact booths that are sensitive? The court said 50-50 deployment should take place. How many booths actually saw that deployment? The local administration did not coordinate. Thirdly, I want to ask the question why CCTVs were not installed, because in many of the booths you've seen either the votes were being casted before the polling began, or you saw how the polling officials were playing a role that is not mandated by law or by the constitution. Fourthly, the question is that if the TMC workers were holding guns in, for example, North 24 Parganas, what was the police doing? The police is still under the control of the state law and order machinery. It's not under the Central Election Commission or the State Election Commission. It is the state government that is controlling the law and order machinery. Fifth, when there was violence in 2013 and 2018, there was elections in 5 phases and 3 phases. Today it was held in 1 phase. Why was there an election in 1 phase when you knew that certain amount of violence could take place? And today, instead of answering these specific questions, you have a situation where the Trinamool Congress attacks the media. I mean, please spare the media. The media is doing its job. And finally, I just want to have one question that I want to ask. If the opposition, you said our provocative statements are responsible. Let's take that question. If my party leader's provocative statements are responsible, then the 34-year-old left rule where there were lakhs of people that were brutalized and thousands killed, was that because of the provocative statements of Trinamool Congress or of the Congress party? How can you blame the opposition? The opposition leaders, if you have any proof that they have done anything wrong, take action on them. But you cannot say that today whatever has happened is justified by using such kind of lame excuses. You show me the FIR. If there were provocative statements by Shubhendu Adhikari or by Sukanta Majumdar, please show me the FIR where you have filed or booked them for those provocative statements, or else don't make these comments. The comment that you should be making is that how come today Ma Mati Manush is bomb, booth capturing and blast?
Okay, in fact, let's have the screen. 1 minute. I'll just ask my producer just to have the screen on me right now for a moment. Now, I'll tell you, 1 minute. Nilanjan, don't worry. I'll have the screen to myself for a reason. We're now going to play out that one statement that has been made by Arabul Islam. Shahzad, he happens to be a leader from Bhangur. Nilanjan would love to see it. And Nilanjan is a man who's basically asking me a question. Now, I'll answer that. You ask me about my journalism. Let me tell you, Nilanjan, I do not have the habit of perhaps sitting in my drawing room and making comments. I am the same very journalist who was brutally attacked by goons of your party, of the Trinamool Congress in Diamond Harbour constituency. And let me just tell you this, that this was while I was capturing visuals of how a booth was attacked. 1. 2, it was in the presence of the central forces, where the central forces were being mercilessly beaten. I caught it on my own cameras. And you're saying what exactly what the central forces were doing? Please tell me, what can they do when they have their own people? There are limitations under which the central forces also operate. They are not going to open fire. But I have seen it in front of my own eyes where booths were being captured. I have seen it in front of my own eyes where the paramilitary force was attacked. I was the same very journalist who questioned that, which you did not like. The problem here is that that is not agenda, my dear friend. And on my camera, I had voters who came. In fact, there were voters who were pleading to speak to us, and they were the ones who said that, listen to me, Nilanjan, they were the same very voters who actually came pleading, that saying that, help us, we want to go and cast a vote. It is the same very voters, and I am that very journalist, so dare you ask that question once again. Dare you ask that question again? We are the ones, and there are today, let me tell you, Republic Bangla's over 100 reporters are risking their lives and reporting from where crude bombs are being heard. Please, for heaven's sake, don't say that. Where every reporter today who is reporting from West Bengal is almost like operating from any other conflict zone. So do not ask that question again. Let me now take this question. Now let me put this out. Now listen to what your leader had to say, what Arabul Islam had to say. Let's play that out. Please. Go ahead. I have nothing to do with the Bharatiya Janata Party. I asked them the same kind of question. Please go and, if you want a verification, hear it out from Shehzad himself. But listen to what your leader had to say.
আমাদের দল, আমাদের নেত্রী, আমাদের অভিষেক ব্যানার্জি নির্দেশ দিয়েছে কোনো গন্ডগোল না করে নির্বাচন করতে হবে শান্তিপূর্ণ। আমরা লড়াই করতে যাইনি, আমরা লড়াই করতে গেলে 20-50টা মানুষ মার্ডার হতো। সেটা করলে কি ভাঙড়ের শান্তি বজায় থাকতো? ভাঙড় উত্তপ্ত হতো।
What is very interesting, Jaideep Majumdar, on a lighter note, probably, the reason why, no, one second, there is a reason why, one second, Nilanjan, hold on, please hold on. The reason why Jaideep Majumdar today, as a journalist too, I feel that, years back when about 4.5 years back, when we saw those very visuals coming out from a polling booth, the question that I was asking at that point in time, is it really possible in our country that this can happen? Where I could actually see Jaideep Majumdar from a distance, roughly about 500 meters away. Suddenly I see a paramilitary force, a soldier, a Jawan, who was being literally lifted off in the air. For a moment I thought, what exactly was happening? I then realized there was a mob who was beating up this Jawan mercilessly, and no one was around. Had it not been for the cameras of Republic TV, perhaps that report would have never come out. The Election Commission had to take cognizance of it. Jaideep Majumdar, please tell me, we saw that same happening back in the 60s when the Congress was in power, in the 70s when the CPM was being challenged, and of course that entire vicious cycle still continues. I'll ask the same question of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Aren't they responsible of getting CPM goons in their own party? No, CPM goons were also in their party, so that question is still valid for the Bharatiya Janata Party too. But Jaideep Majumdar, as an independent analyst, what really happens to this so-called united opposition that they are talking about? Because Trinamool Congress says that the united opposition in Bengal looks completely different.
The united opposition at the national level is, it's as what they say, it's a Thakbandhan. It is a alliance of convenience for all the political parties which have no hope of coming to power in the center ever, and they do not deserve it also, forming an alliance and, just for their own convenience and trying to muster up the numbers, whatever. That is not, anyway, that alliance is not going to fructify. Let us not talk about that alliance at all. What I would like to I'd like to make 4 points out here. There are 4 myths which have to be busted. One is this blaming the central forces for not being. This is a narrative which has to be busted. It is no point blaming the central forces because the central forces were not given adequate powers. They were not deployed properly, and that is why they were not able
Who was
to
in charge of deployment?
wherever they were. Don't speak over me. This spokesperson of that party of goons. Wherever they were deployed, they have been able to control violence. One, and this time they were not deployed properly. Number two is this whole narrative. This whole narrative of defaming Bengal. No one defames Bengal. It is the Bengalis themselves. It is the parties like the Trinamool who defame Bengal. And let me tell you, this party of goons. They have exported terror outside Bengal. We have seen in Meghalaya, for instance, in this last elections in Meghalaya, it was the Trinamool goons which actually introduced violence in an otherwise peaceful state. Trinamool is a party of goons. Before that, the CPM, all the CPM gundas came over to the Trinamool. It's a party of goons, plain and simple. You had raised one question: where does it stop? It will never stop till the price of violence, of perpetrating violence is made extremely high. And the fourth thing, that the Trinamool has been saying that more of our workers were killed than other parties, so we are actually the victims. No. What has happened this time is, if you see the maximum number of deaths are in Murshidabad and Kuch Bihar, that is because the BJP in Kuch Bihar and the Congress in Murshidabad, they fought back fiercely. In the past, the Trinamool had a complete freedom to create mayhem. This has not happened this time. They have fought back this time. And you know, these are the four narratives which have to be the false narrative which have to be busted.
Okay, Nikhil Jain.
Let me come in.
As far as the Congress is concerned, now the Trinamool Congress says that you have 1 minute, Nilanjan, I'll come to you. Can you please allow the others to also speak?
They killed TMC workers.
1 second, hold on.
He's calling it fighting back.
1 second. Now, how long would you want to continue shouting? How long do you want to do that? There are others also. Can I at least go to them? Or do you think I should take permission from you?
Are you calling this man a journalist?
I can also send in a written application to you in that case. Hold on. No, listen. No, 1 second. You can, only a heartless person tonight will have the gumption to actually continue passing the buck on others. 1 second. Keep shouting as much as you want, but the reality won't change. The deaths have taken place in the very state that we are talking about, in the very state where you are living. And if that does not evoke any emotion, then perhaps there is something really wrong with you. Nikhil, if I can come to you. Nikhil, as far as the Congress party is concerned, the Congress party, many say in Bengal that the Congress party today is trying to aid the Bharatiya Janata Party as far as Bengal is concerned. What we are witnessing in Murshidabad, where you have had a Trinamool Congress worker hacked to death, the Trinamool Congress is saying, look here, that is the Congress which is actually doing it. So if the Trinamool Congress is at fault, so is the Congress party.
First of all, I would like to clarify to your viewers that I'm not defending the TMC. I am merely aghast at the sight of this violence that is happening in the state of West Bengal. My heart goes out to the families of those who died in this. May their soul rest in peace. And today, right now, is the time to fix accountability. Whether it lies with the State Election Commissioner, with the Central Armed Forces, or the police, or Mamata Banerjee's government, I am here to question about accountability. So far as your question is concerned, whether the Congress is helping the BJP, I think nothing can be farther from the truth. Shehzad is sitting here, he's from the BJP. I think he will agree with me on one thing, that if there is one thing that never happens, is the BJP helping the Congress or the Congress helping the BJP. The fact that the Trinamool Congress tries to prove that it is the only party that is fighting for the constitution, or in any part of the country. Shravan, in any part of the country, the BJP and Congress are always at each other's throats. So far as TMC is concerned, what they want is that they just want to prove to the country that they are a viable alternative to the BJP, that they are the true opposition, they are a secular party. They may or may not be, but the point is that the Trinamool Congress's constant bickering to prove that Congress is not a party that lives up to its values is nothing but positioning of Mamata Banerjee as a prime ministerial candidate. And I think that is just farcical. That is a castle in the air. I was with you 2 days ago in the studio. I said the same thing, that Mamata Banerjee's wild ambition to get to the prime ministerial seat is actually hurting the opposition unity, and she needs to stop doing that. To call that the BJP and Congress are in cahoots with each other is absolutely absurd.
Okay. Let me have Shahzad coming in. Shahzad, there are two more aspects that I want to bring in. And that is also the role of the governor here. The role of the governor, Trinamool Congress is alleging that he is basically working at the behest of the Bharatiya Janata Party, which they are saying that pretty much similar to what is happening in the state of Tamil Nadu, where you had to actually, perhaps rebuke the governor there because of the decision that was taken. Here, the governor is acting at the behest of the Bharatiya Janata Party. The allegation essentially being only because of the places that he has visited. Some say that it is only BJP workers' residences that he has visited, which is factually incorrect on that note. But having said that, as far as the central forces are concerned too, the Trinamool Congress is saying that if you're blaming, Dilip Ghosh is blaming because there are miscreants, he calls it miscreants, who are basically coming in because of the illegal immigration that is happening. Bangladeshis are coming in. They are the ones who are basically making it vicious. Trinamool Congress says that the borders are being manned by the BSF. They should be held accountable for it.
Let me answer this particular aspect first and then go on to the other aspects that Nikhil spoke about. First of all, it was for this precise reason that the BSF wanted a 50-kilometer jurisdiction. But who opposed it? And who is it that using the law and order machinery and the police machinery there is actually defending them and legitimizing these people who are entering through the porous routes in various parts? Because we know that the state government there has a direct interest because of vote bank politics to allow and provide patronage to such kind of people. And therefore, they prevent the BSF from doing its entire work. Secondly, let me come to a larger point. Nikhil is absolutely right. Congress and BJP can't get together. But while our entire rank and file and our top leadership has condemned the violence that has taken place in West Bengal, today, where is the Mohabbat Ki Dukaan ka franchise by Rahul Gandhi in West Bengal? Not a single word, and forget everything else. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, and I have a statement, I'll play it out, is on record to say that TMC workers are the ones behind this violence. Two, that the police is giving protection to these gundas, and the police was actually trying to send away the genuine voters. Now, when these three allegations have been made, why is Rahul Gandhi still not speaking on this? Who is saving democracy across the country, but not on this? And lastly, if all of us are united together, left, Congress, BJP, everyone, then Mr. Nilanjan, instead of abusing the anchor tonight, please tell me, why is Mamata Banerjee accepting the invitation of Bengaluru? She should say reject the invitation of Bengaluru, because the Congress and the BJP are the same thing. And they're fighting on the same side against West Bengal, according to you. Then rather than removing your frustration on the anchor at 9 p.m., you remove your frustration on Mamata Banerjee, because she is hobnobbing with Rahul, and Rahul's leader is Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary. And Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary is saying worse things than what the anchor is saying. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary is a liar. Now you and Nikhil decide that and leave us out of it. But yes, the people of West Bengal are watching the Congress's complete compromise just for the sake of forming this so-called opposition unity. They have not stood up for their workers.
Okay. We have Professor Monojit Mondal also come in. Professor Monojit Mondal, I have some specifics and I would like to focus on them. You have one of a resident, a shop owner, who has come on record, and in fact this is on camera, Professor Mondal. If you want, I'll send it across to you, but I'm just putting it for you. You have the Trinamool Congress's bike bahini, which is the youth on bikes. On the day of the polling, they come in the morning. The night before, they threatened some of the villagers, and villagers have also come on record, and they said that if you step out tomorrow, then there will be dire consequences. Not one, and not just one media outlet, multiple media outlets have actually recorded this. Trinamool Congress's bike bahinis, two others who have actually prevented even opposition members of the ISF to even step out of their residence. And then, Professor Monojit, you may, before you actually begin the Manipur debate, the debate is not about Manipur. I have various other occasions to speak about Manipur, and I will. So tonight, let's just focus on what's happening in West Bengal, because it really concerns everyone. What you're seeing right now, as I started this debate, I still want answers from every person on this panel who is accountable for the lives that have been lost, not the last 13 or 15 count that we are showing. Over 30 deaths that have taken place in less than a month.
First of all, my sincere apologies for being so late. I was on a different channel. But coming back to a question, Savan, violence in Bengal that is taking place, it's because, I again repeat, it's because of the opposition narrative. And they have been planting this narrative since last 1 month. Show me a single instance, Sawan, when they talked about development, when they talked about 100 days work, electricity, roads, power, which are the real issues about such elections, especially for this local bodies election. None, nowhere, none of the political leaders from opposition. They had one narrative, central forces, violence, counter-violence, beating up, counter-beating up. That was the narrative. So they started living, thinking, dreaming violence, and they perpetrated violence. And on the receiving end, we were on the receiving end. Our leaders, our workers, TMC's workers.
What was your government
Look
doing
at
if
the
you were
number of-
perpetrating
look at
violence?
the number
1
of-
second, how many
look at the
FIRs are on the
Please,
opposition
please.
leaders? Mr.
Please stop this
Mondal,
person.
you are a responsible
Please stop this
person. Show me the FIRs
Please
against
stop this
opposition leaders who are perpetrating the violence. There's been enough time. It's your police. Show us that.
No, no,
You can't control the law and order. You
Have
then
you
come
taken
and
over
blame
the
on
role of
national
the
television
anchor?
opposition leaders
Have you
without an
taken
iota
over
of truth.
taken over
And
the
the
role of
courts
the
ordered
anchor?
the central forces. Are the courts playing into a narrative?
So, Shravan, can I
I'm not
beg
playing
your
role of the
intervention,
anchor, but
please?
you have certainly not played the
Shravan,
role of the
Mr.
government
Shravan,
there.
can I beg
You
your
have
intervention,
certainly not
speak
played the
before
role of the
please?
government there.
Professor
That's
Mondal,
constitutional
Professor Mondal,
principles.
Can I
Mr. Mandal, I have a name, and I understand your ability to remember names is bad, but at least remember your duty. Your duty is to be honest.
No, Shahzad, I'll take that question. I'll take that question to Professor Mondal also. But Professor Mondal, now the question. No, Professor Mondal, don't worry. I'm not abdicating my role. Political parties may do that. They may abdicate. They may abdicate their responsibilities. I'm not as an anchor. And don't worry, I'll ask the question. Now, okay, Professor Mondal. Can I just add one more small thing? Now, he has a question. He's asking you this question. You are free to answer. He's asking you a simple question. You said that if my leaders are at fault, hold on, Professor Mondal. We are having, it's a very sensitive issue. If you're making these kind of allegations, so it is inevitable that there would be some rebuttal. He's asking you a straightforward question, and I'm adding one more question to it, and then you respond.
Yes.
He's saying
You're asking about
that if my leaders
I'll tell you how many FIRs are there against this leader. I'll tell you.
1 minute. Hear out. We have enough time. I'll give enough time to Shahzad also to respond, but I'm asking you a simple question here. One, if the opposition leaders have been at fault, and this is not about just last 24 to 48 hours where you are going to say the election, the model code of conduct was actually in place, so hence it's not our responsibility to ask that question to the State Election Commission. But we're talking about even before that. Question number 1 is about the FIR. I'm asking you a second question. Professor Mondal, and I'm asking you this because I have seen this in front of my eyes, Professor Mondal. As far as the crude bomb factories are concerned, when I was studying back in St. Xavier's also, I saw that happening. I saw that happening in front of my eyes, where crude bomb factories did exist. And at that time, there was no model code of conduct. You have been in power. Why did you not take... hold on. Hear me out. And this is a legitimate question. You may want to pass it on. But Professor Mondal, for how long will you allow this to happen? There are young people who have lost their lives. They may not even be part of any political... Professor Mondal, you can respond. Till the time we are also putting out live visuals of the governor who's reached. But I want you to respond. Go ahead. Professor Mondal, go ahead now.
If people who are dying from TMC, 60 to 70% of the murders that took place are for TMC. The TMC is in the receiving end. You are blaming in the same breath, you are blaming the ruling dispensation, but not even questioning the opposition once. I can show you the videos where Subhendu Adhikari is instigating people to steal the ballot boxes. You're talking about FR. There are a number of FRs against Subhendu Adhikari, Adit Chaudhary, and Nitish Pramanik. 12 FIRs against Nitish Pramanik of murder, girl trafficking, dacoity, and whatnot. Do you want us to arrest them? And if we arrest them, which they should be in jail, I believe, you will make mayhem in the entire country.
I'll give you the
look at the autocratic role of this government. That's what we will do. We believe in the process of law, unlike the BJP, where even if one of my friends makes a tweet, he lands up in jail.
Okay.
That's BJP for you. We do believe in the process of law. If court orders them to be arrested, we'll arrest them. Like in case of Nausar Siddiqui, again, one of the BJP's lakeys, Nausar Siddiqui, he made a mayhem on the streets of Calcutta. He was in jail for 42 days. All the opposition leaders, including Subhendu Adhikari, was actually defending him. Why? He was a criminal. He was seen to be vandalizing. He was seen to be attacking police. This is what happens. It's almost like a double-edged sword. What are you talking about?
Okay.
We believe in the process of law. We believe in democratic
Professor
policy,
Mondal, you
and
made your
that's
point.
why
Can I?
these people,
I'm now taking the response from. I'm taking a response from.
All of them are.
Hold on. Professor Mondal, you made your point. Okay, while you've made your point, you've not answered my question as far as the crude bomb factories are concerned, and that is a question I'll again ask you. But Shehzad, you need to also answer this. When Subhendu Adhikari, and this has been 1 minute. Professor Mondal, just allow me. Go ahead, make your 10-second point, and then I'll give the time to.
One of the bomb explosions that took place in Midnapur, the person who was actually killed because of the explosion, he was Subhendu Adhikari. In Midnapur, the person who died 2 months back in an explosion was Subhendu. Yes, he was Subhendu Adhikari's man.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Everyone knows. Go to Midnapur, East Midnapur, you will find that this person belongs to Subhendu Adhikari.
Okay, there is a list. No, okay. You've highlighted one. I'll give you others, but I want Shehzad to also respond right now. Shehzad, as far as Subhendu is concerned, you are constantly saying that let them take it's law and order is in their hands. They are free to take any action that they want. But that still does not, Shehzad, absolve any of your political leaders, including Dilip Ghosh. I can also tell you when Dilip Ghosh, forget about the statements that he made during the Ram Navami violence, but there are statements that he made during the Panchayat polls. That certainly tantamounts to provocative speeches.
When the 34-year-old left rule was there, where thousands of people were killed, they used to make the exact same argument that the opposition leaders are provoking violence. I want to know that was the opposition responsible back then? In 2013, when the Panchayati polls saw violence and there was a lot of people who got killed, at that time the BJP was not even born there. The BJP came into existence really in Bengal from 2016 onwards. Who was responsible in 2013? The left and the Congress? Then they should say that the left and the Congress was responsible. My simple question is only one thing. In the last 10-15 days, the violence we have seen, killing, blasts, bombs being discovered, etc. And today on the polling day, the kind of violence we have seen. In that case, if there is a BJP involvement, show me one FIR freshly filed against any BJP leader, small or big. But I want to ask you that when the ballot boxes are being changed in Malda, before it reaches the strong room, who is responsible for this? When the voting is being done by the polling officials in various polling booths, including 137 polling booth number in Diamond Harbour, who is responsible for it? When North 24 Parganas, the TMC workers found with a gun and the police is not arresting him and he has a gun to threaten people and the voters away, who is responsible for it? And by the way, during these elections, the police is the responsibility of the state government, not with the SEC or with the Chief Election Commissioner or the Central Election Commission. It is with the state government. It is a Panchayati Raj election. And therefore, the question, Manojit Mandal, is only this, that you cannot absolve yourself of the responsibility. And if we are lying, if BJP is lying, then why is Congress saying the same tune? You are meeting the Congress in Bengaluru. Then you say that we will not meet Congress in Bengaluru. They are B team of BJP, or they speak the same language as BJP, or they are defaming Bengal. You are going and meeting them in Bengaluru. You met them in Patna. So why are you having this relationship with the Congress? Mr. Nikhil should look at this debate and should tell us that who is going to speak up for the Congress workers. Rahul Gandhi does not have one tweet to offer. One.
I haven't seen a single. And I also, Professor Mondal, I want to ask this question to some of your Harvard-returned politicians who basically were talking about a death of democracy. I'm not going to name any of these politicians because it's not worth it. But the fact of the matter is that when they say death of a democracy, then they also need to answer this question. And I'm going to show you, Professor Mondal, and then I want to also go across to Jaideep. I'm going to show you one visual where, Professor Mondal, you need to see. I don't know whether you have a television set or not. If you do not, I'm going to just describe that visuals. Let's put out that visual that came in from Murshidabad, where you can see Trinamool Congress workers taking out a ballot box, using sticks, beating it up, trying to open it up, and moments later when the ballot papers were taken up. One second. I will show that also, don't worry. Nilanjan, why are you getting so agitated? What makes you think? No,
You
I will.
have not shown the visual.
No, I
of
will.
Shubhendu
I will
Adhikari.
show it. I'll show you
have
both.
not
I'll show
shown
you
it.
both. One second. One second.
you
I will
don't
also
have
show
the
you.
visual.
I will also show
It's not
the
there in
protest
your
that
archives.
actually took place, and the Bharatiya Janata Party Bharatiya Janata Party workers
One
were also
second.
vandalized.
When the ballot boxes were not safe, why were you opposing central forces? When the ballot boxes, whether A, B,
let's
C,
put that out.
were not safe, why were you opposing the central forces?
For the longest time, they opposed by saying that why do we need central forces? Now, one second, Nilanjan, I'm not even going to it. At least 1 second. At least Professor Monojit is taking. No, 1 second. Professor Monojit is at least taking the patience to answer these questions directly. So hence, I'm going to go to him 1 second. Professor Mondal, because as a sensible person, one will have to reflect. Now take a look at these visuals, and for the sake of Nilanjan, I'm going to show both. Don't worry, I'm asking this question to Shehzad also, Shehzad, because there are allegations against your party of pouring water. Now take a look at this. Take a look at on the right hand, top right hand, you can see a ballot box being, sticks being used to open it up, and moments later, ballot papers are taken out, set on blaze. Who's responsible for it?
Shubhendu Adhikari.
No, first of all, these are not TMC's people, and this happened in Birbhum, where TMC is going to win.
How are you? But they themselves are saying it.
The people,
Professor Mondal, how would I know it? Professor Mondal, you tell me, how will I know that they are Trinamool Congress workers or not? They themselves are saying it.
You wanted me to answer, and if I call out your narrative, why do you stop me? Wanted me to answer. This visual.
No, I'm not stopping. I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you. You are saying that they are not Trinamool Congress workers. I'm just informing you. Listen, Professor Mondal, don't get me wrong. I'm simply saying that they themselves are saying. I'm not saying it. They themselves are saying. Now you can continue. Go ahead. Go ahead, Professor.
TMC is going to win by.
Please go ahead.
If you have any traits of sanity, the people who are going to snatch the ballot boxes, the people who are going.
These are BJP people who are instigated by Shubhendu Adhikari time and again. That if you are not satisfied with the polling, steal the ballot boxes, go with the ballot boxes, throw them in the ditches and ponds. That is Shubhendu Adhikari on video for you. What are you talking about? And you talk about violence, you talk about every act of violence.
I showed you both now. No, I don't understand, Professor Mondal, what grounds that you have against me.
I have to ask this question.
There you go. No, Professor Mondal, I'll come to Manipur also.
You are such a good friend.
Of course I do. I've given you enough time. What are you saying? Please go ahead, Professor Mondal. Make your point.
What I'm saying that if you
make your point.
If you connect every act in a state with law and order, if that is the logic, by the same logic, Manipur government should have dismissed the act at least 10 times now. What are you doing with Manipur? Prime Minister silent, not even a single tweet. When one part of our country is burning, you are unable to save your own minister, and the Prime Minister is silent. That is not law and order for you. So if you connect every act of violence in Bengal with law and order, by now Manipur should have been dissolved, the government should have been dismissed, and president's rule should have been imposed there. This is the double standard hypocrisy that
Jaideep, Professor Mondal, now you can connect. Professor Mondal, you've had your time.
You receive.
Okay, Professor Mondal, you've had your time. I need to quickly go to Jaideep also.
The Home Minister should resign.
Okay, Professor Mondal, equating. Now, 1 second. There is no doubt about the fact, Professor Mondal, that the situation in Manipur is grim. You ought to ask that question to N. Biren Singh, who happens to be the Chief Minister. You can also ask the question to the centre whether at all adequate measures have been taken, whether they have failed or not. 1 minute, Professor Mondal, don't do this like this. 1 second, Professor Mondal, 1 second. Professor Mondal, don't do this. 1 second. I allowed you to make your point. I have respectfully, Professor Mondal, I have the right to respond to. Okay, Jaideep. Okay, Jaideep, can I get a quick response? Now, equating both of them. Yes, both the situations are important. I think so. We're getting the response coming in from the governor. Governor's just landed in the national capital. Let's just listen in. Then I'll just quickly give a response to Shehzad and Jaideep. Listen to what the governor has to say.
Given the unprecedented violence in Bengal, what is your comment, sir? given the bloodshed that has taken place, not just the bloodshed, the mockery of democracy with the looting of, ballot boxes in the panchayat polls and everything. What do you comment, sir?
I'm watching.
You were out on the field, sir, when this happened. You were amidst the people. What did you see, sir? And what did you feel? And what are the steps that you would like to take?
I have seen many things. I have made my own assessment. I will state it at the right time, in the right manner.
One more question, sir. The BSF has alleged that information on sensitive poll booths were not shared with them, and this led to the escalation of violence in Bengal during the panchayat polls.
Yes, the BSF has made their point clear. I have nothing more to comment on that.
A new era of truly international premium schooling is coming to India. Harrow School in the UK, over 450 years, has educated numerous prime ministers, Nobel laureates, royal families, and prominent figures in arts, sciences, and business. Harrow International School is now opening as the most premium co-ed day and boarding school of India in Bengaluru. For admissions to grade 6 onwards, visit harrowbengaluru.in.
आप कह रहे शरद पवार डबल गेम खेलते
खेला है
आपके साथ डबल गेम खेला बीजेपी के साथ शरद पवार ने डबल गेम
खेला उस समय उन्होंने वैसा किया जो मैंने कहा आप इसको किस फ्रेमवर्क में डिफाइन करना चाहते हैं मैं आप पर छोड़ता हूं लेकिन मैं इतना कहता हूं कि अजित पवार और मैं अचानक उठकर सुबह शपथ लेने के लिए नहीं गए ये तय हुआ था कि हम साथ में मिलकर करेंगे हम दोनों को जिम्मेदारी दी गई थी उस हिसाब से हमने सारी चीजें की थी एट वन फाइन मोमेंट पवार साहब उसमें से हट गए और फिर अजित पवार वॉज लेफ्ट विथ नो अल्टरनेटिव देन टू कम विथ मी क्योंकि हम लोग तैयारी पूरी कर ली थी वो तो एक्सपोज हो जाते वो तो खत्म हो जाते तो इसलिए अजित पवार ने और हमने शपथ ली और फिर कोर्ट में जो हुआ वो भी आप लोगों ने देखा लेकिन उस समय सरकार बनाने का जो प्रयास हमने किया था उसकी शुरुआत पवार साहब से बातचीत करके ही हुई थी
एनएसजी का प्रोफेशन होता कैसे पहले ये तो बताइए
It's all physical. We have 26 obstacles and first 13 obstacles they are of hands. पूरे हाथ का होता है and 13th obstacle was the vertical rope on a just plain wall. You have to just climb. और तब तक 12 obstacle किए होते हैं ना हाथ फूक गए होते फूल गए होते हैं ऐसे करते करते there were 26 obstacles and वहाँ से आने के बाद फिर फायर इमीडिएटली वहाँ से वेपन्स रखे होते हैं
एनएसजी का प्रोफेशन होता कैसे पहले ये तो बताइए
It's all physical. We have 26 obstacles and first 13 obstacles they are of hands. पूरे हाथ का होता है and 13th obstacle was the vertical rope on a just plain wall. You have to just climb. और तब तक 12 obstacle किए होते हैं ना हाथ फूक गए होते फूल गए होते हैं ऐसे करते करते there were 26 obstacles and वहाँ से आने के बाद फिर फायर इमीडिएटली वहाँ से वेपन्स रखे होते हैं अगरबत्ती होती है यू आर जस्ट आउटस्टैंडिंग बट किया एंड आई डिड बेस्ट आई वाज केम आउट विद फ्लाइंग कलर्स विद एनर्जी
You are a political strategist. You want to have a big alliance. सिर्फ आपको अभी रोल पता नहीं क्योंकि एकनाथ शिंदे को है आपके साथ शिवसेना है अभी अजीत पवार को कहाँ पे लाएंगे, कब लाएंगे, मगर आपने एक ऑप्शन रखा हुआ है इन द फ्यूचर। नहीं तो आप अभी तक, मैंने आपको अगर 7 सवाल पूछे, आप अभी तक बोल देते कभी नहीं होगा, मगर आपने नहीं कहा। यू लेफ्ट द ऑप्शन ओपन।
क्यों नहीं बोला मैंने इसलिए नहीं बोला कि एक जमाना ये था कि जब मैं ये कहता था हम जिंदगी में एनसीपी के साथ नहीं जाएंगे, लेकिन 2019